Have you ever noticed that no matter how much money you make, it still feels like you're always struggling to get ahead? Well, you're not alone. In this video, I'm going to show you 9 specific money habits that are keeping you poor and how to finally break free from the paycheck to paycheck cycle. Stick around because by the end of this video, you're going to have all the tools that you need to take control of your finances once and for all. If it's your first time here, welcome to the channel. My name is Jay, and this channel is all about us becoming better steward of our finances together. Hence the name, Good Stewards. If you like videos just like this one that are talking about money and how you can please the Lord with your finances, consider subscribing. Now let's get right to it. The very first thing, lifestyle inflation. Lifestyle inflation happens when your spending increases as your income increases. So you start making more money, and instead of saving or investing, the first thing you do is spend it on nicer things, upgraded cars, bigger houses, fancier gadgets. We know exactly what it is chasing the American dreams, how that feels. And us being American, we know exactly what that is. We've all been there, we've all done it. We've chased the American dream for far too long. Before you know it, as your new salary feels just as stretched as the old one. The trick is actually to keep your expenses exactly the same as your income grows. That way, you can invest a difference. Imagine delaying those nice to have purchases for a couple more months, a couple more years. Delayed gratification is the secret here. And the longer you can avoid that lifestyle inflation, the faster you can build wealth and escape the workaholic treadmill. One of the things that people don't realize is when you take your money today, let's assume it's $1, and you put it towards something, not only are you devaluing that dollar because of the purchase, and that purchase, if it's not generating income, what it's gonna do is not only did you spend that dollar, but because of inflation, the 99 that you have left is not as impactful as it would have been, rather you had invested or put it into something that would at least combat inflation like the S&P 500. Quick question, what is one of the #1 things that you regret buying because of lifestyle inflation or overspending? Drop it in the comments below. Number 2 is not tracking your expenses. The second habit that keeps most people poor is neglecting to track their spending. They have absolutely no idea where their money is going. It's like trying to fix a car without actually checking the engine or the engine light or anything. You imagine you go to a mechanic to fix a car. You may have an idea of what the problem is. You may not. The guy just decides he's gonna change one of your tires, or he's gonna try, to change your transmission. Who knows? But without any sort of diagnostic, he goes straight into trying to fix the problem. One of the things you gotta do is check your financial engine light, and it's alerting you when things are going wrong, and specifically where. Start reviewing the last 3 months of your spending, and you might actually be shocked at how much these little expenses add up. I'll give you a quick pointer. Off the top of your head, pause this video and answer this question. What do you spend on subscriptions on a month-to-month basis? Most people don't actually know. The third thing people do is borrowing the maximum that they can afford, and this is a big one. Borrowing the maximum that's allowed by lenders. This is a trap for many people, and it keeps many people in debt. In 2024, I'll give you an example. The average car loan has skyrocketed to over $40,000 with a monthly payment of $733. I remember when I bought my wife her first car. It was a 2018, 2017 or something Corolla. It was black. We loved the car, brand new. And it cost about $23,000. And that was me going above and beyond for her. But even today, me taking out a car loan that's $23,000 is kind of absurd. And now that I'm like even in a more fundamental sound place, I probably wouldn't do it. But when I was younger, it just didn't seem like it was much. But having a $733 payment is crazy, and that is where the norm is now. If you account for inflation or not, it doesn't matter. It's far too expensive. This is actually, if you look at the numbers, way beyond what most Americans can comfortably afford based on the median income. So if you calculate the median income against how much car you can afford, this would not be the case. Remember, just because the bank says you can borrow doesn't mean you should. They make money on how much more you borrow. They are not in the business of keeping you sane when it comes to financial decisions. They're in the business of making sure you take the highest possible loan with the highest possible interest for the longest amount of time. So do this, stick to a budget, avoid maxing out loans, not just cars and homes, but obviously credit cards as well. The thing is with the credit cards, it's a little bit different because you actually do want as much credit as possible. You just don't want to maximize them. You just don't want to use it, but you do want to get the max available limit on the card, just not use it. Number 4, and this is also a big one, is not actually understanding taxes or taxation. Not understanding how the tax system works is actually another common trap. If you're not careful, you could end up paying way more than you should. I see a lot of people who are like, oh my God, I got this fat check from the IRS when April, May comes around. And you don't realize what that means is you gave money to the IRS, free money, and they've been using it, they've been investing it, who knows what they've been doing. And you could have been doing that. So let's assume you get a $10,000 check. That's $10,000 that you let sit in a bank account that wasn't yours, that you didn't actually put to use. And what I would recommend is take that money, put it aside, invest it in something extremely safe like bonds. When it's time to pay taxes, pull that money out of the account, take the profit, put that in your pocket, and pay the government. In 2024, the average federal income tax rate for middle-class Americans ranging between 12 and 24%, with some obviously additional state taxes in a lot of places. One of the reasons I live in Florida. But here's what you can do. Contribute to any retirement account that you have possible, like a Roth IRA, which grows tax-free, or a traditional IRA, which will give you the immediate tax deduction that you can use actually to lower your taxable income. Don't forget, if you work for a larger company and you have access to an HSA, or you're a 1099 contractor, you run your own business, you can sign up for an HSA. The health savings account lets you contribute pre-tax dollars for medical expenses and a couple of other things like over-the-counter medication, a lot of stuff actually that you can check out at Walgreens. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this video, consider subscribing. I would love to grow this community of good stewards and get it a little bit closer to what my Instagram is at. So if you would, consider subscribing. God bless you, and share this video with friends and family. Thank you. But it's a big way to reduce your tax bill. Tax planning is one thing, tax paying is another. If you want to pay less taxes, tax planning is critical. Not just on stuff like retirement accounts, but also what you buy, how you buy it, and how you pay for it. This obviously is a much more in-depth video that I can make on if you have a corporate like an LLC and you set up the taxation as an S Corp. That's something that you need to do, and you'll be able to get away with writing off a lot of different things. Number 5, completely ignoring retirement accounts and failing to take advantage of those accounts is a huge way to miss out on building long-term wealth. There are so many government-approved accounts that incentivize you to invest, like obviously the Roths, traditionals, the IRAs, the 401ks. Literally, even if you can only contribute a small amount right now, start now. I bring this up all the time, but there's a famous quote that says, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time to plant a tree is now. Doesn't matter if it's a penny, doesn't matter if it's $1, $100. If you can do it now, do it now. Don't wait until tomorrow. It's about reducing your taxes today while your investments grow completely tax-free, tax-deferred. Number 6, and this is critical in today's high inflation economy, is not having multiple sources of income. When you're fully dependent on that one source of income and your employers let you go, something happens to your health, you need extra income. If you only depend on one source of income, that can really put you in trouble. Give you an example. 65% of millionaires have at least 3 sources of income. Keep in mind, I feel like most people don't do this, but millionaires prioritize one, and then once that one is stable and it's growing, they move on to the second, do the same thing, and then the third. If you shift your energy on focusing on all 3, you're likely not going to accomplish the same thing. So focus on one, perfect it with the goal in mind to get a second and then a third, so on and so forth. Relying on just one job is going to limit tremendously your wealth building potential. Look for opportunities to diversify, whether it's through a side business, investing in stocks, dividend stocks, passive income streams like partial rental properties. The more income streams that you have, the better insulated you are against financial hardships. Number 7 is being too cheap. That's right, I didn't say that wrong. Being way too cheap.
No, I find cheap.
Cheap?
Being frugal is great, but being too cheap in the wrong areas is actually going to cost you more money in the long run. Something called the boots theory. It says that wealthy people buy one high quality item that is going to last them for years, while poorer people buy the cheapest item that they constantly need replacing. So next time you are considering making a purchase, think about quality. I'll give you a quick example. So a lot of people will end up buying a lower end of an expensive car. So you take the Corolla, for instance. I don't remember what the cheapest version is, but it doesn't have a lot of the bells and whistles. What ends up happening is after about 3 years, people are kind of fed up with their cars because it's so far behind how technology has advanced that they now want to upgrade. If you end up buying a car with all of the bells, all of the whistles, that car is actually going to last you a lot longer before you want to upgrade because your car is not as far behind as, those around you. So just something to consider. The average loan right now in the US comes out to anywhere from 6 to 7 years, but most people only keep the cars right around 3. Think about quality when you're actually making big purchases. Spending on more durable, quality products is actually gonna save you money. Keep in mind, shoes, clothing, jewelry, things like that. You might as well get something that's high end and it's gonna last you a lot longer. Number 8 is not planning for the worst. Life is unpredictable, guys, and failing to prepare for emergencies can actually wreck your financial life. This means having an emergency fund that is fully funded, covering at least 3 to 6 months of expenses. And keep in mind, you gotta do regular financial checkups. If your expenses have gone up, and your emergency fund is underfunded, you gotta put money in there. Planning ahead might actually cost you more upfront, but in the long run, it can save you a ton of money. Most Americans don't have $1,000 to spend on an emergency. So if they do end up having an emergency, they're gonna go to a credit card, they're gonna go to a neighbor, they're gonna go to a friend, and it's gonna put them in a tough spot. Do not be that person. Plan ahead. Not having a financial plan is number 9. Not having a financial plan. You're just drifting. You have no direction, no goals, nowhere to go. You need to know what the goals are, how much you need to actually achieve them. You might be surprised, but most people don't actually need millions to live a comfortable life. There was a study done a couple years back that after you make around $80,000 to $90,000, your level of happiness does not change. So depending on where you're at, if you're thinking to yourself, I need to make $200,000, $300,000, although it can be a big jump in how much money you're actually making, it's not going to level out with as far as life satisfaction. So what you need to do is figure out what the goal is. Are you looking to buy a couple of rental properties? Are you looking to, who knows, buy a couple of high-end luxury cars? To me, the goal and the goal of this channel is that we can live abundant lives, not for ourselves, but so that we can share and that we can give. I brought this up before, but I'd like to share it with you. One of the reasons I started this channel is because I wanna make a lot of money. I genuinely do, I wanna make a lot of money. But I don't wanna make money for myself. When I'm setting money aside for my daughter to go to school, I feel like the Lord is also calling me to set money aside so that I can pay for 10, 15, 20, 30, 100 other kids to go to school. I don't wanna be selfish and just focus on me and my family. I would love the opportunity where I can excel at my job, my career, what I'm doing, and use those funds for the glory of God to help other people. That is the purpose. That is what is essential. So you need to have a goal. Sit down by yourself if you're not married, with your spouse. Map out what your financial goals are. Maybe it's paying off debt. Maybe it's increasing your income. Whatever it happens to be, write it down, and then you actually have something that you can work to get to. Before we wrap this up, I want to leave you with something. As Christians, we believe that wise money management is a way to honor God, and it provides a foundation to serve others. Proverbs 21, the plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, while everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty. This verse reminds us of the importance of saving, planning, and being intentional with our resources, not just for ourselves, but to fulfill God's purpose in our lives and in our community. God bless you. I hope you guys have a great day.